I feel I'm going to yawn to this whole thing.
You think you're just going to be a yawner today? That's all right, because I'm going to wheeze and cough.
People will be like, man, other guy is bored as shit.
Yeah. And that one guy, he's got the contagion. I got a code in my head.
Two guys, one podcast. Wild, abandoned sexuality of a
I
stallion.
lose more and more respect for you every time we do this show.
Two guys, one podcast.
Cesspool of disease and bacteria.
Anything I show you on the internet is fact now.
You just walk around using your lips.
I have full lips, but I also have a very tiny tongue.
Two guys, one podcast. And this is the podcast.
Welcome to Two Guys, One Podcast. I'm one guy.
And I'm the other.
And this is the podcast birthday episode. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
I mean, when people are listening to this, obviously it won't be your birthday still. It may be again. Maybe a year from now, someone will listen to this.
On my birthday.
On your birthday, and they'll be like, you know, because a broken clock is right twice a day, whatever.
A birthday show's right once a year.
Yeah, every year this show will be true. It is as we're recording this, it's your birthday.
Yeah, and it shows how pathetic my life is going that this is what I'm doing on my birthday.
What are you talking about? It has less to do with you having an emptiness on your social calendar and us both having calendars that are so full that it's literally we had like a 2-hour window. Let's rush to the studio and get in a podcast.
Yeah, I just remember other birthdays being celebrated with beer and strippers.
Naked women and debauchery.
Yeah.
Your wife will probably get naked at some point today. She may be getting naked right now at home while you're not there.
Yeah, she probably... I mean, she was a little offended on the last one.
I haven't seen her since I said she had a big nose. It just occurred to me.
Yeah, she pointed that out. And then pointed out she... this is how upset she was. So I stopped by her place of business and visit her, and she said, you know... Well, I like Giselle so much. I mean, the model, Tom Brady.
Yeah, Giselle Bundchen.
Yeah. And I was like, because she's married to Tom Brady? No. Apparently, Giselle has a big nose, man. And my wife was like, she's considered one of the most beautiful women in the world, and she has a big nose.
She's got a big old schnoz.
Yeah. She was pointing out different celebrities and other people that were considered beautiful that had large noses. And I put my foot in my mouth. I said, right, baby, but their heads are bigger. And she took it as she has a little head, and so her nose looks even more awkward on her face.
She doesn't have a small head. I think her head is very proportional. I think her nose is very proportional. I was just, as I think I made clear last week, I was merely pointing out if there was, as you said about the gap in my teeth, like there's one thing that's obvious. That's the first thing that jumps off my face. There's a thing that's wrong with that dude. A little bit. If you were going to get some work done, that'd be the first thing that you jump at.
Dude, I wasn't offended.
Her nose is a prominent feature. There's nothing wrong with her nose. I love her nose. She's a very beautiful woman. You're a lucky man.
Until I get home.
Yeah.
You got me in trouble.
I will be lucky if she ever allows me back in your house again. We got some response to last week's
response.
we've gotten response all along. We did get quite a lot last week.
JaVale is here. Woo.
First off, a couple of new people have joined the podcast. Been a lot of activity over at our Stitcher account, and we appreciate that. Stitcher.com/2guys. You can enter that into your browser, and Stitcher will hook you up with the app. Use the promo code 2guys, all one word, TWOGUYS. And it'll even load the podcast automatically for you into the app. All that's really cool. Last week, you told a great story about how you've won a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about Meryl Streep playing a pirate in Hook.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep did not play a pirate in Hook.
I know. I just want to point out, go back and listen to the podcast again. I was pretty intoxicated.
You were quite drunk. It doesn't come off because you carry it well. You were a frat guy. Or a frat guy.
Yeah, but I don't. That's something I
you
just
don't drink
do
much anymore.
Yeah, I just don't. So I was a little intoxicated, but it doesn't change the fact that I was completely wrong, but so sure of myself. Because when my wife listened to it, she even pointed out. She said, "Man, that's Glenn Close. You told me it was Glenn Close," and I was like, "You know what? You're right. It is Glenn Close."
And you had told the story for years, and you had done that bet. You had done it correctly. You had been beating people.
Yes.
With the Glenn Close thing, not
Yes.
Meryl Streep. You just misspoke last week.
Horribly. And then I thought about this yesterday. I couldn't name one Meryl Streep movie because every movie I kept thinking was a Glenn Close.
Close film. I thought of a couple too. I started to use. She played Cruella de Vil in the live action. No wait, that's Glenn Close.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's in Damages, that show on. Oh no wait, that's Glenn Close.
Yeah.
She played a man this year in. Oh no wait, that was Glenn Close. Yeah. Meryl Streep did play this year. She was in The Iron Lady. She played Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister of England.
That's a role I'd want.
Yes, Meryl Streep was in Mamma Mia a few years ago. That was Meryl Streep, not Glenn Close. You're not the only one that gets them wrong, apparently. I did some research today on the internet. Glenn Close versus Meryl Streep, or vice versa. It's a very popular argument to have, and a lot of people have. You kind of line them out. There's even a website. I'll have links to all this on our Tumblr page, 2guys1pod.tumblr.com, a little later on this week. But there's a site that has photos of the two of them side by side. It's amazing how often they look a lot alike too. So
the fact that I got it wrong,
it's not so ridiculous.
That's normal. Yeah. That's average.
We got a lot of responses of people correcting you there, though.
That I was wrong.
Yes. Several people knew
that
it was Glenn Close, not Meryl Streep. The best one, though, comes from our mutual friend. Our mutual friend chimes in on this and other topics. Last week was one of his favorite episodes so far. Glenn Close played the penitent pirate Gutless in Steven Spielberg's 1991 classic Hook, who, having been accused of faithlessness by the title character, is sentenced to a stint in the infamous Boo Box. I am continually impressed with other guys' resilience and self-assurance in the face of an ever-growing mountain of evidence that would, in some lesser guy, propose the eventuality of self-doubt.
That I'm always wrong and don't care.
He says he knew that you were wrong immediately. He had to look it up himself. That he was like, I don't think it was Meryl Streep. But he knew that you were wrong because you were so adamant that you were right. He also chimed in on a topic that we brought up a little later on in the podcast, the question of tarballing. It was nearly the Urban Dictionary word of the day last week, both for the instance that you brought it up in a circumstance in which someone was hazed by having their balls hit with hot tar, or
it's
in
not exactly hot tar. I mean, tar's still viscous at a lower temperature.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought tar
it
was
eventually
cool.
hardens, like when it cools down.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it doesn't go from 120 degrees to 40.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be boiling. It might be very hot and even burn you, but not necessarily
it's
actively injure you.
Yeah, it's more of a toffee kind of...
Nice. All right, well, here's his response on tarballing. Our mutual friend has never been tarballed.
He's missing out.
Nor have I heard of it in the first sense of the definition. The second definition, though, and here we're talking about the version, tarballed.
It's just old, nasty balls.
Nasty, musty balls. He says, as regards that definition, let's just say that my travels have afforded me the opportunity to go to places and experience things I had not bargained for. I will add this, though. If you ever find yourself with a case of monkey butt, tar balls isn't far off. I'd guess 6 to 8 inches typically.
Away from monkey butt?
Yeah.
Nice.
He goes on. We at this point, we're text messaging. And he thought he had finished his point, and then he just could not quite wrap his mind around the fact that you were so adamant that tarballing's a thing that goes on.
I'm not adamant about it. It is. It's a real thing.
You say that it happened to you?
Yes.
This is a thing that has happened.
And I know other people it has happened to.
This is, again, our mutual friend. I'm 93% sure tarring your balls would result in indescribable pain, followed by third-degree burns and eventual scrotum amputation. I think the other guy made that shit up.
No.
Who has a bucket of tar in the shower anyway? He is the father of lies.
People who work in an oil rig.
People who work in an oil rig have a bucket of tar.
Yeah, or say you're roofing, which I roofed for a summer.
All right.
And again,
when you're roofing, why are you then taking a room shower?
It didn't happen when I was roofing.
But I'm saying, in a circumstance in which you are a roofer, how would a roofer get his balls tarred? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Their business.
I don't see how that's going to come up.
I was just pointing out places where tar was, man.
So when you're roughnecking, when you're on the oil rig, it's a group shower. It's like a shower room.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's insane. He called you the father of lies. Says the truth is not in you. That's what he says.
I've never said it was.
He also chimed in on the plastic surgery question. He doesn't think he'd do any plastic surgery. If he did, he'd totally go with spikes and armor plating, though.
Yeah. What, if you went that way, what job would you have?
With spikes and armor plating?
Yeah, like a dinosaur. You're covered in spikes and armored plating.
You could be an engineer.
If I'm needing to hire an engineer, I'm not hiring that guy.
if you're a good enough engineer,
you could be a bouncer or a circus act.
No, if you're a good enough engineer, it doesn't matter what you look like. Steve Jobs is a perfect example. He literally wouldn't bathe. No one would work with him. And yet he was brilliant enough at what he did at the time that the guys at Atari were like, yeah, just put him on the night shift. Let him work by himself. I don't give a fuck. And I'm saying it would be that case for the dude with armor plating and spikes too. Like if he wanted to be. There are some other alternatives out there. DJ, for instance. As a DJ, I could have spikes and armor plating if I wanted to. My physical appearance matters not at all to my customers or clients.
That's fine. I'm just saying, if I owned a radio station, I would discriminate against you and not bat an eyelash.
You would not hire the dude with spikes and armor plating?
Exactly. Why would I want to do that when there's plenty of other qualified applicants that I don't have to worry about, leaning up against a wall and putting a hole through it?
I don't think it's that kind of spike.
I think it is.
I assume that it would be like the ones you've seen, the guys with the little spikes under their skin, like on their forehead or something.
No.
Where it's like
that's not what he's talking about.
You're talking about he's talking about a real spike.
Yes,
like a Road Warrior style, mounted to his
like
skull.
Like there's a unicorn horn right in the middle of his forehead. But I think it's all on his back. I don't think he's wanting it on his whole
Triceratops
body.
style.
Yeah, like everywhere. Like that's armor plating and spikes.
Like Armadillo Man.
But armadillos don't have spikes.
But the offensive Armadillo Man.
A cross between an armadillo and a porcupine.
There you go.
What you get. That's what he's looking at.
We can rebuild him. We can make him spinier.
Yeah, I'm not hiring that guy.
No, I agree. I wouldn't hire porcupine Armadillo Man either.
Unless I needed a bouncer or side.
Every time the shit goes down, that dude just rolls up into a ball in the corner.
And somebody just pushes him.
It's really dangerous.
Pushes him through the crowd. He's on riot control.
I got sued to hell and back the last time. Fuck that dude.
Oh, could you imagine like body surfing if you're that guy?
If you had spikes? No.
Yeah, nobody. You'd just hit the ground every time.
Yeah, it was just everybody. And then you'd get stuck.
You just jump on stage.
They'd drop you and you'd stick into the floor. You'd be like, could someone pry me off the floor, please?
Yeah, I think that's a poor choice.
Another question that we asked and we got some response for, worst movie.
Ever.
The worst movie. Now, you've got to have sat through the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
So you can't say, oh, well, someone told me that The Last Temptation of Christ is the worst movie ever. Did you sit through it? What did you think about it? Then
that movie was so bad I walked out.
Tough. That movie wasn't that bad, was it?
Maybe it ended amazingly.
That's right. If it was really that bad, you would have had your jaw dropped and you would have had to sit there and watch the whole thing so that you could testify to its terribleness at a later date.
Crash.
You said Magnolia?
Oh, yeah. It's not even close.
A couple of people backed you up, actually. It's a pretty bad movie.
And
barely.
I love all of those people.
Some of the other suggestions, 8mm with Nick Cage.
Never saw it.
I haven't seen it
Wait,
either.
I thought that was with Robin Williams.
No, that's the one with Robin Williams is the one In and Out Photo or 10-hour photo or something like that, 2-hour photo. 8mm is the one. Nick Cage is like a detective, and he gets into snuff films somehow. Like he's researching snuff films or something. Jonah Hex, another one. That
Never
was
saw
a
that
couple of people suggested. I haven't seen it either. Probably won't now.
Megan Fox is in that one, though, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not that big. I mean, she's hot, but lots of people are hot.
Yeah, but I mean, that's an enjoyable bit.
He of the Very Long Name, another college associate of ours. Would you know who I'm talking about if I said that?
If he was Romanian, I would.
No.
Oh, yeah, yes. I know who you're talking about.
There you go. He of the Very Long Name. He of the Very Long Name.
Let me tell you something. Even in my head, when I think of this guy's name, I have to say all of them.
You have to. You always do.
I have to say all of them.
I've tried to write him emails and just use his first name, and it's not.
Yeah, and you can't shorten his first name.
No. It's terrible. No. Anyway, he of the Very Long Name has been catching up with the podcast.
Terrible?
No, not his name is terrible. Shortening it is terrible.
Yeah, you can't shorten it. Yeah.
You lose the joy that is his full name.
Yeah, and I was thinking about, like, every time I say his name, I say every name. Every time.
Yeah, you have to.
In my head. And then I got to thinking, we have another friend, the Romanian, who he has a long name.
But you have to say it all.
Oh, man, and it's lovely to say.
The Romanian, though, the deal there is his first name is not very distinctive.
At all.
Even though, I'm trying to think, I think I only know one other guy with that first name. But still, you want to include the last name for the flavor, and it speaks of him. The first name doesn't speak of him.
No, the second name.
I know,
mean, it's a Romanian name, I guess.
You grew up with, you knew guys in high school that were called by both their names, even if their names weren't strange. Like, that's Ryan Jones, and we only call him Ryan Jones. We don't call him Jones. We don't call him Ryan, whatever. You knew guys like that in high school, right? Somebody that you called by their full name?
No.
No?
I can't think of it.
I knew a couple.
Think of somebody off. I knew people that we called by two names, but it was usually their first and middle name, not their first and last name. Like John David.
That's very popular in the South, of course, the double names.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got off track there a little bit. He of the very long name, he's been listening to the podcast. He's finally caught up. It was nice watching his progress, too. Like, I got an email after the first episode, and then I got an email after he answered or after he listened to the third episode, and then all of a sudden he's finishing up, and he's all caught up now. He sent in the worst movie.
Oh, I bet it's a good one.
He says it's not debatable.
I mean, of course it's never debatable to you. That's why you think it's the worst.
Yeah. Worst movie ever. There is no question. The worst movie ever is Hell of the Living Dead, also known as Virus. He's got the IMDb link here, and there's a YouTube link, too, and I'm going to share both of those. I haven't watched the YouTube link yet.
Wait, what is the name of the movie?
The name of the movie is Hell of the Living Dead, which is a pretty good title to begin with, I'd say.
Hell
it's also
of the
known.
Living Dead.
It's also known in other territories or in some territories as Virus. You might see it sometime on video.
What is the movie released under?
Hell of the Living Dead was the original
under?
title, yes, and then Virus was another title.
Well, if it was so bad, I mean, it wouldn't have got 2 titles.
No. It's just one of those things. In some countries, there's another movie that's already been like that, or the title doesn't translate, and so you name it something else. There's modern movies that are like that all the time. Avengers, everywhere else was Avengers Assembled, for instance.
Yeah, but to go from Hell of the Living Dead to just Virus.
I'll grant you that is a pretty big stretch. Okay, so it came out in 1980. Here's a synopsis of the film. After a chemical leak at the Hope Center in Papua New Guinea is an organization.
Anything that has Papua New Guinea in it.
Yeah, it's a good start, first off.
Yeah.
The Hope Center is an organization devoted to feeding underdeveloped countries, by the way.
So
the
they
Hope
can
Center.
become developed countries?
Yes. There's a chemical leak at the Hope Center that turns its staff into flesh-eating zombies. A 4-man commando squad led by Mike London. That's a good name for your hero, right? 4-man commando squad is sent to investigate. They run into a TV news crew led by celebrity reporter Aaliyah, who are after the same story. But when they discover that the entire country has been overrun by zombies, what are the chances of them getting the message across? Unlike most zombie films, this one actually tries to make a serious point. If we don't feed the third world, they'll come and feed on us.
It sounds a lot like...
I was thinking Cannibal Holocaust is one that I watched like 30 minutes of one time on somebody's like bootleg VHS in high school.
And you should look this up, Blood-Sucking Freaks. Dude, it's a bad movie. Like, it's low budget, bad movie, horrible plot. Like, if you can find a synopsis of it, it just sounds like a bad movie, and it is still not worse than Magnolia to me.
Wow, that's pretty bad. We'll have a link to Blood-Sucking Freaks as well. The plot centers on an S&M style theater run by Master Sardu and his midget assistant Ralphus. In keeping with the style, the theater puts on grotesque shows about torture and murder. What neither the audience nor the critics know is that the shows are not staged but real. Moreover, the naked women who appear to be tortured, dismembered, and even killed during the performances are not actresses but kidnapped victims who are made into slaves.
Yeah.
So that's... Oh, and it's from Troma. It's from Troma Entertainment, the people behind Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was the same film studio. The Blood-Sucking Freaks was from the same film studio that made Toxic Avenger. See, that was one that I watched. It was one of those movies that I heard about in, like, reverential, hushed tones. Like, don't let our parents hear that we're talking about that Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, but it was a cartoon, too.
Well, they made
so was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
They made a cartoon of it eventually, but the cartoon was way, way dumbed down from what the original film was. The original film was pretty fucking freaktastic for where I grew up.
Blood-Sucking Freaks is...
I can't imagine.
Ridiculous.
The parts that I saw of... Cannibal Holocaust is one of these that... supposedly originally it was pitched as like maybe there were actual dead bodies at certain points in the film. Or anyway, it was one of these that was shown to me like it was almost a snuff film.
Yeah, no one listening is going to have any clue what any of these movies are.
I'm gonna link this motherfucker all up. We're gonna have YouTubes out the wazoo for all these films so that you can go and see all the terribleness that exists. We want to hear the terribleness too, because you are a guy that likes to watch really shitty movies.
I do. I just love bad filmmaking.
But it's not just bad. You don't like to watch filmmakers fail. What you like is for really under-equipped and under-talented people to make a movie.
Yes. I always root for them.
Yeah. Like, you see these yahoos that filmed this thing and said it was a movie?
This movie's terrible. It was filmed for $4 and a Happy Meal. It's amazing.
Now, see, what I like is when someone comes from that and then actually makes something that's successful.
Like Quentin Tarantino?
Well, yeah, or Robert Rodriguez is maybe the best example. Or Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith makes Clerks for $26,000. He does it all on credit cards that he lied to get the credit for. And it happens to be a pretty good movie. It looks shitty, but it's actually a talented voice with a couple of people who, they weren't really actors exactly, but they fit the role, and it was the right moment, and you captured lightning in a bottle and made something. Robert Rodriguez did it with, what was the first one? Not Desperado.
Well, both of them, Rodriguez and Tarantino.
El Mariachi.
Both of them worked on 4 rooms. Each of one of them had a room.
But with 4 rooms, they weren't doing it on a shoestring. You know what I mean? They're famous people in 4 rooms. Tarantino wasn't.
It's still.
He's an indie movie guy.
Most of those people that did 4 rooms did it for nothing.
Yes. And Tarantino's an indie guy. There's no doubt about it. But
Bruce Willis isn't even credited in the movie at all.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's not even.
But I'm talking about doing it. Even 4 rooms and everything that Tarantino has done actually was under the purview of a real studio, and it had real money back in it. It had somebody else's money back in it. It was because he was such a brilliant screenwriter. He sold his script for Natural Born Killers. He wrote Natural Born Killers, and then it got butchered by Oliver Stone and turned into a completely different thing. He sold the script for True Romance, and then he used that money and the power that he gained and the authority that he gained based on that to finally make Reservoir Dogs. But even Reservoir Dogs, he already had some studio backing when he was the director. El Mariachi, that first film from Robert Rodriguez, it's like $7,000 and him and a couple of buddies in the middle of nowhere, Mexico, or South Texas or whatever, making a fucking movie. And it's a good, well, it's not a good movie. It's a pretty good action movie to be made for $0. You like, even if you spend $100 million, you like Waterworld, for instance, right? Because that's a shitty movie.
And you know what? Let's get into this. Let's get into post-apocalyptic movies.
It makes a natural transition because, let's be honest, a whole lot of really shitty movies happen to be post-apocalyptic movies.
Yeah,
your favorite one.
Because you could make them on such a low budget. Like, what are they, after an apocalypse, what do they have?
Nothing. Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yes. But you know what they do have? Everything they do have has been made out of the junk that we have today.
Yeah, so it's easy.
What are they going to wear? They're going to wear pieces of our clothes in strange patterns. Yeah.
All those movies, people are wearing tire.
Yeah,
like, that's the fashion.
Lots of tires.
The more tire, the more rich you are.
Lots of like torn up football pads and things, you know.
Yeah.
To me,
leather and tire, that's all people wear.
If you're not going to make like a bedroom drama, or you're not going to make an intimate little 2-person comedy.
What's a bedroom drama?
Why, like, if you're making a movie around the house, for instance, that's a little bedroom drama.
Thought porn.
Oh, no. I meant, like, I don't know what
and then I thought, why didn't he just say porn? Like, why did he have to, church it up?
Oh, no. I meant, it's a specific kind of genre, I think, that label's generally applied.
Give me an example of a bedroom drama.
What was the Liberty Road or whatever, the movie that came out a couple of years ago with, God, what was his, it's like 2 really famous people.
Oh, yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her face?
Kate Winslet.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. But that's a small little film, really, that's just about their relationship, and it's a serious movie. You can make a movie like that for no money if you want to. If you've got 2 really solid actors and a good voice as a writer, then you can make that movie on no money, and it can look like shit, and it can turn into something really special. If you want to make an action movie, really or if you want to make anything other than a really intimate little drama like that, or a 2-person comedy, if you want to make anything other than those things without any money as a filmmaker, post-apocalyptic's really the only way to go.
Or horror.
Yeah, I guess, you can put a bunch of teenagers in a sleepaway camp and kill them all, and that's pretty cheap.
I mean, Bruce Campbell did it.
Yeah, you're right. The post-apocalyptic,
I love them all.
It's great, man.
I love all
you can have a crowd of people who can't act, and it's fine. All you got to do is yell.
I didn't even, because I was talking with my wife about it, and Waterworld didn't even come to mind.
Oh, really? That's not one of the ones that came up?
No, I mean, it was her first one. She said, my favorite post-apocalyptic, it's Waterworld.
Her favorite post-apocalyptic movie is Waterworld?
Yeah. And here's the thing is, I like Waterworld. The more I watch that movie, the more I like it.
It's hated on way too much. It cost a whole lot of money at a time when people didn't understand that the economics of making films had changed. It was the first one to venture out in that, and it got a whole lot of backlash because of it.
And it bombed.
Yeah, it didn't do well at the box office, and we're just brutal on how much money a movie makes right away. Never mind that movies can make up money over time, and they're going to sell it for a million years.
How much money movies make right away? Turns out the Avengers has no hope of catching Titanic now.
It would never pass Titanic in ticket sales anyway because it's all about the inflation of the ticket price over those years.
But here's the deal. It did pass Titanic, but here's what happened. If I read the article correctly, and I may not have, but apparently it did pass Titanic's release. But what happened right after Avengers came out? They re-released Titanic in theaters, and it got more sales. It got 60 million more sales.
The rumor is that they're going to re-release a director's cut of the Avengers right before the Blu-ray release.
And they're going to try to beat
juice it. Yeah, the Blu-ray comes out sometime in September, I think, and the rumor is that they'll put it back in theaters for another 2 or 3 weeks. As promotion for that and to juice the box office returns. I'd go see Avengers again if there was an extra 20 minutes in it. I wouldn't have any problem going and seeing that movie again with an extra 20 minutes. Shit, I saw it twice anyway.
How savvy is Cameron? How savvy is that?
He's got number 1 and number 2, right? Or number 1 and number 3 now if the Avengers got to number 2. I mean, he's got Titanic, he's got Avatar, and what do you think, Avatar 2 is going to do less money than Avatar 1 did? No. That dude's going to end up with like the top 4 or 5 movies of all time if he keeps making Avatar films. It's ridiculous.
Slick.
Yeah, I mean, and if you go further back, he's got Aliens and Terminator 2 as well. That dude just gets what people want to see, man.
Yeah.
Cameron just understands it.
He understands the masses.
What's the other thing he's doing now? He's the one that's putting all the money behind asteroid mining, right? Like that's mostly James Cameron's money. He's the company that started. They're going to start mining these asteroids.
I don't believe you.
No, I swear.
I think Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis kind of prove that's a bad idea.
No. Although I read something the other day though that said, never mind what Billy Bob Thornton says in that movie, sir. He says, "Sir, our budget only allows us to check out 2% of the sky, and begging your pardon, it's a big ass sky."
Yeah.
Apparently, NASA and whoever else has been working on this in the past decade or so, they say we don't have to worry about giant asteroids destroying the Earth anymore.
What?
They've checked out every near-Earth object that's got a potential collision course. They believe they've got all of the ones that are capable of ending the Earth, like a extinction-level event.
You're talking about so much bullshit right now.
I'm just pulling stuff out of my ass.
I don't believe a word.
None of these are true.
Mouth. And first off, there's no way they know every space body that could crash into us. Because they probably haven't found it yet.
No, they don't know.
That we're not going to be destroyed by an asteroid.
They don't know all of them.
Exactly.
They don't know all of them. What they're saying is they've got a handle on. They've got eyes on all
2%.
of the ones. No, all of the ones that are big enough.
I believe Billy Bob.
All of the ones that are big enough to cause a end of the world event.
But they don't know them. There's some that are probably larger than that could just smoke us. They just haven't found it yet. It's a big ass sky, man.
It is a big ass sky. As Chief of NASA Billy Bob Thornton once said.
Yeah, let's get back on track.
I was just trying to think. Does Deep Impact count as a post-apocalyptic movie?
No, I think it counts as an apocalyptic movie.
Okay. 2012. That's apocalyptic.
That's apocalyptic. Yeah, that's
okay. So you've got to go. So Mad Max counts. All the Mad Maxes count. You've got
The Postman counts.
Wait, he's kind of got a theme going, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I like that.
So The Postman counts. Waterworld would count.
I liked Waterworld. It wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. I would not say it's my favorite post-apocalyptic movie though.
So which one is?
That's a good question.
If you know definitely that one's not.
I just recently saw and loved the Book of Eli. Have you seen the Book of Eli?
Oh yeah, that is a good one. Yeah, Legend would count, I guess. I Am Legend.
I Am Legend works,
count.
And then of course the original versions of that. The Vincent Price version is I Am Legend, I think, and then the
Book of Eli
Charlton Heston movie is The Omega Man.
Oh, Planet of the Apes counts.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes is post-apocalyptic. I agree. All of those.
Logan's Run.
Yeah, I know. But see, my problem with the Planet of the Apes deal, my favorite Planet of the Apes film is the fourth one, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which is technically apocalyptic. It's the one before the apes take over and the whole
prequel
world ends. I don't know. Do you know right off the bat what yours is?
Demolition Man count?
Oh fuck! I watched Demolition Man the other day too. I don't know that it's post-apocalyptic because we never got a view of society as a whole.
When the only restaurant's Taco Bell, I think that's post-apocalyptic.
It's the end of the franchise wars.
Like,
Be well. I love Demolition Man.
So would that be yours?
No, it's not my favorite. I'm still thinking.
Mine's easy.
Well, go ahead. Tell me about yours.
It's Blood of Heroes, and it's not even close.
I haven't seen this movie.
I know, and I've tried to get you to watch it.
You've watched it like
times.
7-8 times, right?
I love it.
And you don't rewatch things.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I used to watch it as a child a lot. And I think it appeals to most guys because it's like the movie is obviously like it's made in the Mad Max kind of genre of what we would look like after a nuclear holocaust or whatever. But really, it's all about this team that plays a new game invented for that world, right? Like there's 2 teams. Each team have different players. One of the players is a quick, and the quick's job is a dog skull is placed in the middle of the field. And it's the quick's job to get that skull and put it on the other person's spike. And once that skull's on the spike, your team wins.
Jesus.
But I mean, they've got like people with web chains that are trying to protect them, like joust with a big hook on the end. And it's about this team trying to make it from the outskirts, like dog towns, into kind of like what's the big city now, trying to make it into the big league. Fantastic film.
Rutger Hauer's in it?
Yes, he is. I love that, man. And there's great lines like, nobody carries Dog Boy. That is a great line. Or, I'm going to break your leg. I'm going to hurt your leg. And then Dog Boy's response, I'm going to rip your tits off, bitch. Like, what good lines in a movie? Like, what other movie could you put, nobody carries Dog Boy, and I'm going to rip your tits off, bitch, and you can't. Like, it's beautiful.
Escape from New York?
Ooh, yeah. I love Snake Plissken.
I'm a big Snake Plissken fan too. I even liked Escape from L.A. Fuck them. It's not a good movie. All they did was they remade Escape from New York with more money. I've never seen The Warriors. Shaun of the Dead.
Well, I think that's kind of an apocalyptic movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think
good point. 28 Days Later, though.
Dude, so we get 28 days. No, I mean, I think that.
All right, 28 weeks later.
No, I think a post-apocalyptic movie has to be after such a catastrophic event, but then it's the new society that forms. Like enough time.
The event has been mythologized.
Yeah, and there's a new society has been formed based around that event.
I got you. So, all right, what about real science fiction then, like Serenity, for instance?
Sure.
Equilibrium.
Okay.
Christian Bale. Have you seen this? Equilibrium. Christian Bale plays like a cop. He's a enforcer.
Would Minority Report be then? Or Total Recall? Total Recall's got to be.
Yeah, Total Recall probably, because don't they? I mean, the whole. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen Total Recall. There's a new one. Are you gonna go see the new one?
Oh hell yeah! I love the old one. Of my growing up, one of the authors that I like to read, I believe, did the screenplay for Total Recall. Pierce Anthony.
Really?
Yeah.
Escape from New York would be pretty high on the list. I really like Book
Snake's
of Eli.
is such a good character.
Does the Terminator count? Yeah, the Terminator's got to count because the robots have taken over. Judgment Day happened. Terminator then, man.
The first Terminator's not. I mean, the first Terminator's not post-apocalyptic.
Well, the first Terminator largely takes place in the present day,
yeah,
but the whole
even T2 still takes place.
Yeah, they all take place in the present day except for Salvation, but
so Salvation counts as post-apocalyptic, the other ones don't.
Even though the main character, I mean the title character is sent back in time from a post-apocalyptic world?
Yeah, cuz it didn't happen in his, did it?
Oh, boo. All right, so no Terminator.
That's the whole
then.
point. He comes back in time is to stop it from happening.
All right. Have you seen The Road?
No. Well, just pick one.
If you're taking Terminator away from me, then I'm going to say
Waterworld.
You made me choke.
I get that a lot.
Yep. It's Waterworld.
That's mostly when I take my shirt off. Oftentimes, you don't make a choice.
That's not true. I make a choice. You are always very decisive and direct.
Even if I'm wrong.
Yes. I like to talk around a topic and come to settle with something.
That's good for everyone.
You are decisive even when you're wrong. However, when presented with new information...
Leader's got to lead, man.
Yeah, but you'll change that opinion real fast and won't have any qualms about it.
Mm-mm.
I'm very hard to change once I've settled on a thing. So I like to be very open, and I'll dance all around it and try to examine it from all sides, and then I'll settle on something because I know it's going to be impossible to move me from that. Probably. Like tar.
Yeah, well, I just think that we don't know, like, no one knows everything. But I think that you should argue for the things that you believe in. And sometimes those things change when you get a new piece of information. So there's nothing wrong with it.
There's a little wisdom from the other guy for you. I like that. Look at you dropping knowledge.
Think about it. The people that you think are the biggest assholes are the ones that won't change. So I'm often wrong, but never an asshole.
I'm often an asshole.
But never wrong.
Not always wrong.
I have many leather-bound books.
Let's talk about your book. I want to read this book, actually. This is the first book you've mentioned in a long time that I've been like, hells yes, I got to get into that. I'm not a real big Star Trek guy.
I'm not either.
But this one was one that intrigued me.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I mean, I don't like science fiction very much.
Yeah, I'm more into the supernatural. You're more into the fantasy stuff, and our mutual friend is the sci-fi guy.
Yeah, which I think you'd like this book.
And he's a Star Trek guy too, I believe. Anyway, the name of the book, Red Shirts. Do you remember the author's name?
John something S-O-L. There's a Z in there. I can't remember.
Yeah, a novel with 3 codas.
Yeah,
That's an interesting subtitle. By John Scalzi. I'm gonna butcher it. We'll have links though for you. How do you do a story about red shirts?
So it's kind of the idea, like, anytime, I didn't watch a whole lot of Star Trek, but apparently whenever they'd go down, like if you were the guy going down to the planet and you had on the red shirt, you weren't, like, you're the guy who's dying, you weren't making it home.
You haven't watched much of Star Trek at all?
No, yeah, definitely none.
Like have you watched even? Oh, okay, yeah. No, I have watched a few episodes.
With Captain Kirk, I've seen almost none. I don't think I've ever seen a Captain Kirk episode of Star Trek
all the way through. Oh wow. So Picard was your guy?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I never watched much of any of them as a kid. I have recently, though, I've got all of the original Trek in HD, and I've been going back and watching them, the restorations. They're great, by the way. They're a lot of fun to watch. William Shatner is amazing. I just love him. But yes, the general premise of every episode is this. We have come upon a planet or a thing or a creature that man has never interacted with in the recorded history of humankind. We were on a ship with roughly 480 crew members. We must send down to interact with this unknown thing. The
I like
first
that you
mate.
Like you don't know the exact total of the crew members, and you just throw out a number anyway. Roughly, there's 480.
No, I looked this shit up one time because I was I watched 3 episodes in a row, and I literally called a Trek buddy of mine, and I was like, "What the fuck? How many people work on the Enterprise? It's a gigantic spaceship. How many people work on it?" And he's like, "You can look it up online. I think it's 400 and something." And I found it on the original version of the Enterprise, on the one that's on the TV series.
I would have thought there would have been thousands.
No, it's a crew. Now it could hold a lot more than this theoretically, but the crew of the thing.
I mean, don't families live there and stuff too with them?
I think it's like a military vessel. I think that's like the Army, except there's not an Army anymore. There's the Federation because they're officers, right? Like even the guys. That's why they wear uniforms. They're officers. Anyway, yes. No matter what you find this unknown thing, and we need to have a team interact with it. So we send the captain. We got 480 people on the fucking ship. I looked it up. It's 400 and something. You send the captain, the first mate.
Yeah, the doctor.
The head doctor, the only fucking medical officer, and then you send one random crew member.
And the random crew member always dies.
Always wore a red shirt, and that's the dude that gets killed. If anything happens to anybody, it's the red shirt.
That's exactly the premise of this book. The character is the red shirt. Like he graduates the
Starfleet.
So yeah, he graduates. He gets a job as a low-level officer, and he starts noticing this is happening. So then it goes into him trying to landing
shirk
party.
His duties.
Yeah, like try to figure out a reason why. Like, here's the reason why I shouldn't go down to this planet.
Ensign Stevenson, we're going to need you to come accompany us to the planet, sir.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm really under the
pregnant.
weather. I got diarrhea.
Yeah, like he's tried to figure it out, and then.
Sorry to hear that. Report to the medical deck immediately. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, but it leads to other things, and then you can't figure out, like, why is it always the captain and the first mate and the doctor? Why do they always go down there? It
is the hardest thing in the world to get your mind around if you're not... Like, I want to like it as something that's a big part of pop culture, and I love William Shatner. I just adore him, and I like the character of Bones. I like the character of Spock. I want to like this show, but it's such a fucking logic leap in a modern world in which you know the way things work, and you're like, no company would work this way. No company would work this way.
Because the show is about humans. If it were about Vulcans, it wouldn't happen that way.
No, it was a problem of the time. If you wanted to make a TV show, you couldn't have a cast of thousands or even hundreds. If you wanted to make a TV show that was going to have a different adventure every week, you were only going to be able to pay 4 or 5 people to be in most of that episode. Like, those were going to be your 4 or 5 guys, and you were going to just deal with them because those were the stars of your show. That's just the way it
works. I wonder if
worked.
there's anybody... There has to be somebody on that show that played a red shirt. And there's got to be one guy that died on 8 different planets.
Oh,
same actor. There's got to be.
I'm sure there's people that died. I think there's even people that die multiple times in one episode. Which is you and I have both done outdoor theater. It's very common in outdoor theater. You change your wig and
Here's
then you
a hat.
die again. Yeah, you put on a dress and die again. You run right back into the same battle you just crawled out of. It's very common in Star Trek.
I always try to die the same way every time.
So you had a signature?
Yeah, so I had a signature death, and everybody like, oh man, that guy.
I like to imagine that I was
just an Indian.
I like to imagine that I was like extended family members of the same. So it would be so like I die
cousin?
here. Yeah, I die here, and then I die as the cousin, and then I die as like it was a very unlucky family.
See what you said? You always imagine yourself as an extended family member. I thought of the audience.
Oh.
So every time you died, you always made a little crawl toward them.
They're like, Aunt Susie, save me, Aunt Susie. No, it wasn't like that at all. Red shirts, man. What a great idea. So it's played for laughs a little bit, or just with levity?
No, I think it's mostly laughs.
Yeah. I could really get into that. Like, I put way up at the top of my list. I'm really excited about that. It also made me think, though, about an if you could.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you could be any Star Trek character. I know neither one of us are Star Trek guys exactly, but it's such a pop culture phenomenon. It's just like with Star Wars. You don't need to see the Star Wars movies to know what those movies are about. Likewise, you don't need to love Star Trek to have an opinion on Star Trek characters. We've both seen the film. We've both seen pieces of the episodes over the years.
Is it original Star Trek or any Star Trek?
You can pick any Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Any character from the Star Trek canon, sir, which would, by the way, they did the new movie, even include you could be the new Kirk.
I could be the young Kirk.
If you want to be. Yeah, sure.
Good-looking guy.
Chris Pine is a very good-looking man. That's a true story.
I wish I knew more about it to make a more informed decision, because I really like being this main character. That's not how I see myself in my life. That's not how I'd see myself.
It's so weird to me. You've mentioned this before. How can you not see yourself as the main character in your own life? I thought everybody is the main character of their story.
I'm not.
You're the baker in the town?
Yeah, no, like if Seinfeld's the main character of Seinfeld, then I would be the soup Nazi or something.
Comes in like every 7 or 8 episodes, twice a season. You get a story with the soup Nazi.
Yeah,
and maybe you pass him once randomly in a crowd. You're like, hey, wasn't that the soup Nazi? I don't know.
Yeah, like that's who I am in my story.
How does that work? You have so much downtime then.
Isn't it great? Sometimes I pretend my wife is the main. But here's a good tip for husbands. Pretend that your wife is the main character in your story.
You just totally made up for any of my nose jabs last week.
Sometimes, like, whenever I'm shopping or whatever, I pretend like I'm the butler or the cook. And so I got to get groceries, and the missus is coming home, and I need to have dinner on the table.
Must satisfy the missus.
I pretend in my head a lot.
Well, I do too. You and I are both very imaginative people that live much more exciting lives within ourselves than we do outside of ourselves.
So yeah, somebody's always like, whatever I'm doing, whoever I'm doing it for is the main character at the time. So sometimes if I'm taking something to my parents' house, like Mother's Day present or Father's Day gift, like.
Meanwhile, the good son was on his way to the house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very strange to me. Not only am I the main character in my story, I don't have an antagonist.
Yeah.
It's a real insular character piece.
That's not a very good story.
No, it's a great story. It's a great story, but it's all about.
You do have an antagonist. Your door. Your door right now is your antagonist.
My door is
like it's become a character in your life.
I am a guy who eliminates minor annoyances. I am a man of patterns. If the right amount of time to put on the microwave to nuke something is 2 minutes and 7 seconds, I want to find that precisely. If 2 minutes and 14 seconds is too hot and 2 minutes flat is not hot enough, I want to get precise on the thing. And then I want to do just that every time, all the time.
I'll just do it at 2:14 and then wait a minute and a half whenever it comes out of the microwave, like the directions say.
No. No, I want to get to the precise thing. I want to do it efficiently, and then I want to leave it the fuck alone. That's what I want to do. My door is killing me right now. I so don't want to involve my landlord. I took my toilet apart the other day, for Christ's sake.
But you don't want to change your door?
I'm going to go buy a door. I'm not going to go buy a whole fucking door. And I don't know how to fix it. I'm going to have to call my landlord in on this because, yes, the door is swelling and I cannot open it. I almost got stuck in my house the other day with my kids.
You don't need keys.
Yeah, no.
You're just crawling out your window.
Yeah. Oh, God. So who,
I don't know enough about it, so I'm going to have to pick a pretty well-known character.
I think you're Bones. Bones is who I said.
Yeah, I think I'm Bones too. But I want to be the new Bones. I don't want to be the old Bones.
I like the old Bones. He's awesome. Carl Urban did a great job in the new movie.
I never really watched it. I have seen the new one, so I know that guy.
Yeah.
So I would be the new Bones.
And you've got a lot of you're grumpy, but you're really a marshmallowy, gooey sinner. Super loyal for your friends and always doing. It's just like you said. You're always the third character in your own story. And Bones is kind of like the ultimate sidekick. He's this awesome guy who you'd love to write stories about, but all he is another little piece in the story about Kirk.
Yeah, that's why I don't like Cyclops. I hate Captain America. I hate those types. I hate
those two characters in particular, just because they're such
like the all
Boy Scouts.
Yeah, man, fuck that. People aren't really like that.
Nobody is that jingoistic and like go 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 team. You know, that's a bunch of bullshit. I agree. I would love to say that I'm a Kirk. I am like Kirk in that I've got my head completely up my own ass.
And you're the main character in your own
I
story.
am the main character in my own story always. That's very Kirkish. I've given this a lot of thought, though, in the past few days, and I'm not really a Kirk. What I am actually in my life is a Scotty. And Scotty is the perfect example of what guys in my kind of a job often do. I am a DJ, but I also do a lot of digital stuff. I do our social media and stuff for my company, web stuff and computer work and everything. And the key in that job is for people not to know exactly how little you have to do. How easy something is to do is very, very private information that I want to hold very close. So every time that someone asks me to do something at my job, I very quickly look exasperated. Oh, I'm giving it all I got, Captain. I'm barely holding her together. I mean, that's exactly the attitude that you want to give at all times, so that when you succeed at the easy task that they've laid out for you,
people will cheer.
Yes,
cheer.
You're a fucking hero.
You answer the phone.
Look at the one guy. He held this ship together with fucking baling wire and duct tape, man.
You can do a lot of shit with duct tape. Like, if you have duct tape, I'm not impressed at anything you do, actually.
Scotty is literally doing, like, theoretical physics in his head and then in practicality. They're like, hey, with this particle accelerator, if we turned it backwards, what would happen? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe it would make us disappear. And they're like, all right, rig it up and let's see what happens. You know?
I like that in the Next Generation, Scotty is now O'Brien.
Yes. Don't you want an angry Scot running your engine?
No, I don't.
Oh, man, I think that's exactly. I'm not Scotch, but Scotch. But I do that at work all the time. Somebody's like, hey, could you change my Facebook status? And I'm like, Jesus, do you have any idea how long it's going to take me to do that? Oh, my God, I would clear my fucking schedule, but sure, I'll get it done.
I don't think I'd want to work with you.
Yeah, it's a little high stress sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be Scotty. I am Scotty.
All right.
Let us know, if you could, what Star Trek character would you embody?
Dana Troy. I definitely want to be in that body.
Not in body. Body.
Oh.
It's a different thing. Dana Troy, she's pretty hot. Which one? There was a female captain, right?
Like you're asking me?
That's a good point. Never mind. I'll talk to a Trek fan about what the vagaries.
Send it in. Who's the only female captain?
Of Trek canon. I'm sure. I'll find the internet between here and next time we record. All right, we got to get the fuck out of this studio now. Until next time, I'm one guy.
And I'm the other.
And this has been the podcast.
could steal his notes.
Let's review, shall we?
We start with 4 on the floor and a simple fat synth bass. The vocal line should remain very subtle and pure. Then throw some words or some sounds and to fill up this blank space. Whoa! Then stir it up till the beat travel to the dance floor. We need not add too much more. My simple pop song is kind of complicated. It could go wrong if I overcomplicate it. Repetition, 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 repetition. Simplify, simplify, simply dance, dance, dance. Now for pop song. Bring down dance moves. Then lead into the bridge. Words don't have to mean a thing. As I put things in rhetorical questions, baby, are you ready? Now it's just me and you and bass. Feels like we're face to face and drums. We have to keep this short, the outro must come.
Review, shall we?
My simple pop song is kind of complicated. My simple pop song